while we still have the right to gather and show them we're not afraid. One thing I want to make really clear, and it has not been an issue so far, is do not engage, thank you, Phil, in the event that somebody shows up. Just ignore them. We have several people in the crowd working safety if you need them. There's a first aid kit up here. I do not anticipate any problems because the energy here is so exciting. I applaud every one of you for showing up and coming.
My name is Eva Morris-Avery. I am also with Indivisible. I am also the chair of the Josephine County Democrats. Our intention today was for a nonpartisan event, and by golly, that's what we've got here. I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
So we're here today to demand that Trump and Musk and their sycophants get their grubby little hands off. When our rights are under attack, what do?
We fight!
We all know that we are at a critical point in our history, and it will take every single one of us to win the battle we are called to fight. It takes courage to protest under our present regime. Let's join hands and make courage contagious. This action today is not an end or a culmination. It is part of a continuing effort that requires all hands on deck. Jimmy Carter once said, "My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I can, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference." Earlier this week, we watched Senator Cory Booker put that challenge into action as he stood on the floor of the Senate for nigh on to 25 hours in opposition to the dismantling of our government that is being carried out by an unelected billionaire and an inept felon. I felt like a proud American watching him. I feel like a proud American standing amongst all of you. Thank you. You make my activist heart soar. Something that Senator Booker said that touched my activist heart was this: I'm not going to allow my inability to do everything undermine my ability to do something. Today, each one of us is doing something. When I lived in Atlanta, I was honored to have met and marched with one of Senator Booker's heroes, John Lewis, who famously said, "Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Good trouble! Yeah! Never be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble. Necessary trouble. Thank you all for being here in this moment, making good trouble. Give yourselves a hand.
Hello. I am happy to be in this crowd. You make me proud to be a part of this community. I've got a poem for you. It is sounding a call to action. Without means to measure our way, here we go. We have stepped over the line between the known world and an uncertain new order. Here we cross the borderland, leaving familiar home ground and hideaways. For beyond here there be dragons territory. Listen, this one mess demands our full attention. This one disaster requires our collective action. We must come together. Here, we on Earth must come together. Let us reimagine tomorrow, redefine community, rekindle light. Together, let us walk a well-lit path. Let us stand up for truth. Listen for and heed and all those who still kindle hope, and let us go together into whatever lies ahead. Let us sound our horns, raise our voices, ring the public bells, ring them all at once. discordant and out of tune. Let us all be off key. Bang the drums. Bang the pans. Be ready when a call out comes. Together we gather and will again soon. So sound loudly the bells. Ring those clamorous bells. The world itself is out of tune.
Hello, everybody! All right, first I want to start off by saying thank you. It's a real honor to be up here in front of you all today. I don't join you as an expert or as a politician. I join you as your neighbor. As someone who loves this country enough to fight for it and still believes it's worth fighting for. I also acknowledge that I stand here with a lot of privilege. I'm a straight white man, I'm a veteran, and I wore the flag of this country on my arm. When I speak, people tend to listen. Not everybody gets that chance. And I don't take it for granted, not for 1 second. That's part of why I'm here. Because if you're lucky enough to have a platform, you better damn well use it. So I'd like to share with you an excerpt from the poem The Unknown Soldier by Billy Rose. I am the unknown soldier, the spirit voice began. And I think I have the right to ask some questions man to man. Are my buddies taken care of? Was the victory so sweet? Is the big reward you offered selling pencils on the street? I wonder if the profiteers have satisfied their greed. I wonder if the soldier's mother has ever been in need. I wonder if the kings who planned it all are really satisfied. They played a game of checkers and 11 million died. I am the unknown soldier, and maybe I died in vain. But if I were alive and my country called, I'd do it all over again. That's not just a poem, that's a promise. It's carved into the marble above the body of a person who gave everything and didn't even get their name back. The tomb of the unknown soldier is guarded 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Through rain, snow, fire, flood, fascism. Because we made a promise. Never forget the price of freedom. Never forget the people who gave everything for it. And always live in a country worthy of that sacrifice. I stood in front of that tomb in 2014 as a young sailor. I remember the silence. I remember the weight of it all and the vow it represented. But I stand here today and I'm not so sure anymore. My name is Matthew Mosier. As Eva said, I'm a Navy veteran, a girl dad, and I've got my partner right there, the better half. I am not a sucker. I am not a loser. And I will not sit by and wait while people who have never served, never sacrificed, and never stood for anything besides their ego burn it all down and tear this country apart. I served from 2010 to 2022 and deployed 4 times. I stood watch and see while my kid grew up back at home. I trained the next generation of sailors to lead, to fight, and to serve. And I took an oath to defend our nation from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And now in 2025, that oath still stands. Because make no mistake, the enemy you face is domestic, and it's dangerous. Donald Trump called my sisters and brothers suckers and losers for dying in uniform. He's called for terminating the Constitution. He praises dictators, and he told us a violent mob to stand by and stand back. And now with this MAGA army that looks a little bit weakened across the street, he's ready to burn it all down. And Elon Musk is no better. He's not a misunderstood genius. He's a tech oligarch using his billion platform to spread lies and hate. He's using it to silence journalists and push us towards civil war. He does not want free speech, he wants his speech. He's not saving democracy, he's selling it to the highest bidder and calling it freedom. And let's be honest, when we're talking about MAGA, it's not about making America great, it's about making America white, making it straight, making it male, and making it obedient. That is not patriotism. That is fascism in a trucker hat. And let me tell you something else about fascism. It doesn't show up with a flag that says I'm the bad guy. It wraps itself in that flag. It hijacks the language of faith, of family, of freedom. It promises safety while building camps. It promises peace while stoking the flames of war. And it always, always starts with turning your neighbors against your neighbors. But we've seen this before. And this time we're not waiting for history to repeat itself. We're stopping it in its tracks. And that's why I'm here. That's why you're all here. Because we believe in a country that keeps its promises. We believe that patriotism is more than a red hat and a Facebook post. Freedom is not just a slogan, it's a shared commitment that we've made to each other in this community. And we are not just resisting, we are building something. We are building a multiracial, multi-faith, pro-democracy coalition. A coalition of willing neighbors who still believe in truth, decency, and the Constitution that I swore to defend. And here's the thing about fascists. They always forget. When we stand together, they lose. Every time. So this is not left versus right. This is right versus wrong. So I ask you, as a veteran, as a father, and as your neighbor, do not look away. Do not get tired. And do not let them grind you down with the cruelty and the chaos. Stand up, speak out, and show up. The future belongs to those who fight for it. And let this be the message that you take from this rally today. Hands off our books. Hands off our bodies. Hands off our ballots. Hands off our neighbors. And hands off our future. We will not bow, we will not break, and we will never let fascism win. Thank you.
It was 30 years. Oh, let's see. What did Buddy Holly say when he was at the Apollo Theater for the first time? Well, we wasn't expecting you all either. Yeah, I've been here a long time and I've never seen this many people gather. Nice to see our friends across the street helping us out too. That's great. Appreciate you. Yeah. You know, statistics are boring, but I'm going to start out with that anyway. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
I just did a little scraping of the internet. Now, don't hold me to these figures because they're changing as we speak, but let's run this down for you. 98% of this country's wealth is held by the top 50%. The richest 10% of the U.S. controls 60% of the nation's wealth. The bottom half of this country holds 6% of the nation's wealth. If you remove Social Security from that, the bottom half holds 3% of this country's wealth. if the Trump tax cuts are continued, which they just voted at 3 o'clock this morning in the Senate to do, we would see the top 0.1% of this country get a $314,000 tax break, while the rest of us get next to nothing. How are they going to pay for these tax cuts for the wealthy? They're going to gut the services that we rely on. USAID is not an office that a lot of Americans have heard of, but this is the first time that a disaster has happened, the earthquakes in Myanmar and Thailand, where the United States has not been present to help, because USAID effectively does not exist. USAID doesn't just help the rest of the world, it helps Oregon, helps Eastern Oregon farmers and all of us, because it buys our produce to send it overseas to help other people. It no longer exists. That's how they're going to pay for the kind of tax breaks they're trying to give their wealthy friends and themselves. People talk about cuts in Medicaid, and it's not a real sexy term or whatever, and many people think, well, Medicaid, that's just for poor people. You know, who cares about poor people? Well, I know we do. Some of us resemble that remark. Medicaid, I worked, as was stated, I worked for 35 years, mostly in Josephine County as an investigator with Adult Protective Services. I want to tell you a little bit of something about that. Adult Protective Services investigates primarily, most of what I did was investigating financial crimes against elder and disabled people. My position was funded, and those positions are still funded by Medicaid. Medicaid. If you go outside the city of Grants Pass into Josephine County, and there is a crime committed, say someone steals $300,000 from you. If you go to get that case investigated, it's not going to happen. It's a free fire zone. Believe me, I lived it. I watched it happen. The only people out in the county outside of Grants Pass doing anything about that sort of exploitation were Adult Protective Services investigators. There were like 8 of us, okay? And without Medicaid funding for something like that, even that goes away. It's hard to think about all of the gears and wheels that go spinning around behind the scenes that keep us sewn together. But if we begin to take away programs like USAID, like Medicaid, Department of Health and Human Services, go on and on and on, the whole thing falls apart, and we're watching that happen right now. It's not just about the other guy, it's about you and me, right here, right now. It's every single one of us. They haven't gone for other people, they've gone for our throats. Now, just real quickly, I've been working in the organized labor for a long, long time, and I had the honor to help the Oregon Nurses Association with their 46-day-long strike out there in the cold. Medford Providence was the coldest strike line. We call ourselves the Frozen Chosen. Stood out there for 46 days. It's the first time in Oregon history that almost 200 doctors joined us in strike. And during that strike, the 19 ER physicians at Providence voted to unionize. They were striking for themselves, yes. They were striking for better conditions for themselves, yes. Let's be honest, that's what they were doing. They were striking to keep their hospital open and functioning so that their own staff couldn't get bled off to other hospitals because they weren't being paid a comparable wage. They were fighting for good staffing from a company which is the largest healthcare provider in Oregon with profits bigger than McDonald's. Not the McDonald's Island with the penguins. Not that McDonald's. Making Antarctica great again. bigger than Fox News, bigger than eBay. They were fighting against a mega corporation for you and for me. So that's the kind of thing that we can do now to help each other. If you see a strike line, don't just honor that strike line, join it. We've had people from all over this community bringing us coffee and donuts. I gained 10 pounds on that strike line. Yeah. When we were out there, I'm going to close with this. I mean, basically, you know what to do. We don't have to tell you what to do. This is what we do, right? This is what democracy looks like. All right, I'm going to close with this. When I was out on the strike line, one of our favorite chants was, and it was not grammatically correct, and as an English major, it did offend my sensibilities. Bob knows what I'm talking about. We would ask our fellow strikers, who's got the power? And they would answer, we got the power. And I would ask, what kind of power? They would say union power, but let's say what kind of power? Say people power. How's that? All right? So let me ask you, who's got the power? What kind of power? Who's got the power? What kind of power? Who's got the power? What kind of power? Damn right. Thank you.
Green, lock him up. You know, as an educator, it's very awesome this morning to be around so many very, very well-educated people. Yes, science matters. And everybody's spelling is fantastic. We got a well-educated crowd here. We got a creative crowd. I'm preaching to the choir here, so this is really, really weird, to tell you the truth. But I'll tell you what, across the street, they've got somebody saying, let's go, Brandon. Somebody might want to tell him, who's president now? He's a little confused. Okay, look, when you hear about something like the Department of Education, y'all probably want to take a nap, and I get that. You're picturing an old building in Washington, D.C., where a bunch of ivory tower bureaucrats hang out. I don't see it that way. In my 35 years, I see the Department of Ed as doling out school lunches to some of the thousands of kids whose parents are underemployed, who can't afford to put enough food on the table, or need to make tough decisions about whether to pay the rent or the mortgage or put the food into their kids' mouths. That's what the Department of Ed does! Why would people wearing a red hat want to get rid of the Department of Ed? Because if students are fed, they will learn something. Their brains will grow in my science class, and that scares the hell out of them. Why do people with red caps not want kids to be fed? Because if parents can control their eating, that, in many of their eyes, is the best way to control behavior. I personally wish they wouldn't procreate. So many better ways to lead people in the right direction, as our schools and school teachers and aides and bus drivers and cafeteria workers know. But wait, there's more with the Department of Ed. This gray hair means I'll be 60 in 3 months. I might be a puppy, but I do know about Johnson's war on poverty. And it pains me so much to know that poverty causes many of the problems that our schools face. Anxiety. It causes them to be underachieving when they're thinking about their bellies. It causes neurological differences. And in the 1970s, Public Law 94-172 was established so that we'd finally not just let students who learn differently drop out of school. No, we're going to finally set goals that they can reach. We're going to finally pay for aids to help those students reach those goals, to put them in smaller class sizes. We're going to pay for special education teachers. The Congress promised 40% of those costs. It only hit 17% max.
So your local school districts have been picking up the tab for a long time. But again, the red hat crowd does not want the least among these. Some people would say, I would also say the best and the most amazing among these. They don't want them to get a wonderful education like we've had. They want to sweep them under the rug, let them drop out, and then use any savings to afford private education, which isn't proven to do any better, often worse, than our public schools do. But wait, after hiring our special ed, after providing school lunches, there's one more very important thing that the Department of Education does, and that's school loans. And this should scare the heck out of you. Trump wants to take and move that all into the Small Business Association. They don't have any experience, and yet our students out there who are trying to pay off their loans in some of the direst circumstances, the Small Business Administration doesn't want the program, and yet Trump is giving them full license to get into their bank accounts, of course, and make them pay year in, year out. I don't know about you, but I think about the happiness index, and I know that the happiness index leads in European countries where we provide funds for our best and brightest to maximize their education, to realize their full potential. I'm going to be happiest when we provide loans for our best and brightest that are interest-free or have a sunset time, the same thing as, yes, Biden trying to establish. That's going to make me happy. All right. They also do a little bit of research, and whenever any country wants to know anything like what it's like to educate kids during a pandemic, having them raise themselves instead of in a classroom, they turn to the United States. And Trump's idea is to shut them down because other nations will benefit as well. That scares him. So I'm asking you to please make it personal. Learn 3 things that the Department of Education does. From the top, we've got school lunches. With me, please. School lunches, special education, and the last one was school loans. But I want you to learn one more definition. Please, when you talk among your friends and the people that are moving gradually from that side of the street to this side of the street, and they will, know the definition for woke. Woke means knowing about injustices. Don't let that be a pejorative for people. Get them educated. I'm proud to be woke. I'm proud to be aware of injustice. People, what is the definition of woke? What's the definition of woke? Aware of injustice! We are our best when we know about injustices, when we know the history of the Buffalo Soldiers and so many the injustices that we know our history, when we know about how we've treated Native peoples on this land. The saddest part of being at these rallies, yes, is the chaos and needing to give up part of your day. The best part of it is you are among the most creative, most well-educated, most wonderful people that you can possibly be around in Grants Pass. I'm proud of you. I'm honored to be a part of you today. I will see you at the next one, man.